Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast, the ultimate blueprint to self-love and inner peace. I'm your host, Danielle Van. As a cognitive behavioral therapist, life coach, meditation teacher, and author, I've spent my life studying and learning from the stories that make us human. It's my passion and goal to help you shift your mindset and create a lifelong revolution. What does it mean to bet on yourself? More so, how the hell do we do it? This is a question that comes up time and time again, and often betting on ourselves scares the hell out of us, and it makes us want to sit on the sidelines of our lives. Today, we are breaking down what it means to bet on ourselves, what action is required, and we tie it all into this little bow of being able to put one foot in front of the other and do the damn thing even when it's hard. So let's not waste another minute. The Get Your Life Together Girl podcast starts right now. I'm going to say some words that I wish everyone would take into consideration. No matter where you are in your life, whether things are going right or wrong, I wish these words were a part of your everyday understanding, your everyday mantra, your affirmations, and here they are. Assume that they are wrong. What I mean by that is assume the negative thoughts are wrong. Assume the words that other people say about you are wrong. Assume that the feelings that you have about certain moments are wrong. Assuming allows you to open the door to other options. It allows you to bet on yourself, to double down and seek evidence, decide what you need, decide what you want. That is the topic that we are going to go through today, is betting on yourself through the assumption that what you first think may or may not be correct. That what you first feel may or may not be the truth. What I want you to do is be able to get into a space where you use your thoughts and your emotions to your greatest benefit, and you're able to double down and bet on yourself. And the first thing we do with that is decide that you are worthy. You're going to hear me say these words. You may agree or disagree, but the truth is you do deserve to bet on yourself. No one can make you do it. Right? You're either interested in mastering your life, in your own fate, and deciding that you are strong enough, good enough, well enough to not live on the sidelines of your life, or you're going to wait for someone to come in, kind of control your life, and then be upset with the outcome. Again, I will say you deserve to bet on yourself. You've heard the saying, no one's going to come save you. It's true. If you don't bet on yourself, again, someone is going to play into their own scheme, their own dreams, and you become a character in their story instead of you being the lead in your own. Betting on yourself is one of the fastest ways to get to success. Last week, I walked through these behaviors, the feelings that successful people know. If you didn't hear that episode, go back and listen to it, because it's important to know. Because again, no one is going to give you permission to bet on yourself. Nobody is going to give you this ability to show up. You have to do it. Waiting for the world to give you permission to be great is the fastest way to lead to a life of disconnection. Waiting for the world to tell you it's okay, go do it now, is the best way to people please, to feel broken, stuck, all of the things that we talk about every single day that we do not want to get into. I had a mindset of this myself. I want to share it with you. It's something that I connected to growing up that actually didn't mean what I thought it did. But this is where those limiting beliefs come into place. And we form habits and skill sets and thought processes around the things that we connect to. They are the things that become the negative thoughts or the awarenesses, and sometimes help or distract from our overall life's ambitions and thoughts. My dad had a thought process that he always told me, and it was to just be average. I remember hearing this all the time growing up. Just be average. Get C's in school. It's okay. Buy the average car. buy the average home, do just enough. Of course, when I was a child, I thought, well, that's weird, right? Why are you telling me to get a C? Why are you not telling me to reach for the stars? Instead, you're telling me to go for the middle ground. And I thought so much about this that it actually created quite the opposite. It made me very driven. I saw parents who were driven. I've talked about this a bit on the podcast before, where that thought process to me was so counterintuitive, so counterproductive to what I wanted for my life, that actually what it did was made me bet on myself. It made me throw caution to the wind and try to prove myself above and beyond anything that was, pretty average. I didn't want C's. I wanted A's. And I didn't just want A's, I wanted A pluses. I wanted to shine. I wanted to prove myself. I had parents who were really big superstars in their lives, and I wanted that same feeling. It made me bet on myself. Later, as I had conversations with my dad about just be average, I asked for just a little bit of clarification. And I had missed a major part, which I'm glad I did, because again, I learned to bet on myself, and the things that I learned I'm going to tell you in just a few moments. But what he really meant was shoot for what you want. If you don't get there, because you're not going to 100% of the time, it's not possible, it's not feasible, average is okay. It's okay to be average in some places and be complete rock star, head up high, marching the ground kind of chick or guy, and really think about the fact that this is okay. Average is okay. You don't need the best in order to be happy, and you don't need to always constantly be driving yourself crazy over the small things. Just be average while showing up. Showing up is the bet. When you choose to bet on yourself, you're saying, I don't need to be saved. I believe in myself. I have the ability to chase my own dreams, to put my intentions and actions into place, and that I have the ability to get out of the average and go for the best. So what does betting on yourself do? The first thing that really works in your favor is it removes the illusion that it's terrible to fail. When we feel safer, we have less problems. When we step into something and we're worried about failure, we tend to hold ourselves back. We don't bet on ourselves 100%. We tend to overthink. And we find different ways in our thought processes and our emotions to drown ourselves in doubt and fear. We worry that we can't be successful because we don't have a straightforward shot to success. But when we bet on ourselves, we have this thought process that if we fail, we fail. The difference is when we fail and we are trying, we failed trying to make something happen. We took a risk. And then we have the evidence in our mind and our emotional body that it's okay. That just because we failed in that moment doesn't mean that the world's going to end or things don't work out. It just means that we have to shift our perspective. So betting on yourselves removes the illusion that failure isn't an option. How many times have you failed doing something and you actually learned? I know for me, it has been an incredible journey of allowing myself to dream and then striking out. It's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to take ownership of that process and make progress in the failure. Betting on yourself removes the illusion that you should not, cannot fail. Betting on yourself also gives you the ability to take calculated risks to pursue opportunities. Your mindset changes when you start betting on yourself. Not only do you stop looking at the downside of taking a risk, like what I just said, if you fail, you fail, but you stop also seeing opportunities purely as risk. When you see a risk and you allow yourself to take that calculated forward movement, you also are telling the mind and the body that there's also a chance to win. People who bet on themselves minimize the downslide, right? So we're climbing the mountain and then we get somewhere towards the top and we make a wrong turn and we slide all the way back down. But you know what? They're not like, oh my gosh, my life is over. They're saying, okay, I got to that place. I don't need to lower my ambition. I just need to keep going and make the best out of this worst case scenario. It may be called blind optimism, but if you listen to last week's conversation about what makes people succeed, we talked about optimism, realistic optimism. If you're terrified of doing all the things because there isn't a guaranteed outcome, you will never bet on yourself. The truth is, in everything that you do, there's an element of uncertainty, whether that's healing or learning about your emotions or your thought processes, or deciding to put yourself out on the limb of a relationship or a job offer or going back to school or whatever the hell it is you're choosing to do. There's an element of uncertainty. You will not know how everything is going to turn out. If you bet on yourself, you're saying, what can I gain? Not what am I going to lose, but what can I possibly gain? People who aren't willing to bet on themselves refuse to do even the smallest amount in that thought process. They want the safest path, regardless of what they have to give up or stay in. This is a big thing. A lot of women that come and see me will talk about what terrible relationships they're in, and they would rather stay in the safety of the mess than bet on themselves and do the damn thing that's going to make them happy. Why? They fear change. They fear failure. They fear what everyone else is thinking about them. They are okay with average, but they're really not. No one is okay with average in everything in their lives. They want more. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in therapy. But they don't want to take the step because they want the guaranteed outcome. You're never going to get it. You're just not. Not every single time. Not with every single thing. Those people who bet on themselves also raise their standard in everything in their lives. Betting on yourself makes you raise your standards because what you're saying is, I am going to take stock in me. I'm going to invest in me. I'm going to control everything that I can and let go of what I cannot. To succeed, you have to increase your value, much like you would in business, which means you have to increase your good habits. You have to let go of the bad ones. You have to live your life at a level of seriousness and maybe even urgency and consciousness and due diligence and all of the things that you want in order to elevate. Your performance in your life raises your standards, meaning how I show up is either going to add or take away. If you cut off those relationships I was just talking about, it's going to hurt, but it's going to serve you in the long run. But if you don't cut off those relationships, you don't cut off the hard habits, the bad ones, you're not going to be served anymore. What do you want more of? When I talk about change, I often hear people say, I'm not sure I can deal with that. I'm not sure I have the ability. What if that isn't for me? What if I have to sit here and suffer? And I'll say, well, can you bet on yourself? And they say, I don't know what that looks like. And I'm telling you what this looks like. I see where I am. I don't like it. I know that if I do this, this will change. That is betting on yourself. People who bet on themselves see opportunity everywhere. That's the next piece. Every time they look at something, they see something workable. They see something that's going to work for them. A scarcity mindset, the lack mindset, is a direct result of wanting to maintain where you are instead of growing where you want to be. I'm going to say that again. A scarcity mindset is the direct result of wanting to maintain where you are instead of growing to what you want to be. If you refuse to grow, why do you need to increase or improve your position in life? You're already where you want to be, right? Even if subconsciously and consciously you're saying, no, I want more. Those are the words, but the actions don't match. You're not betting on yourself. The world has endless opportunities, but it requires you showing up, a willingness to put your abilities, your talents, your drive on the line and put your toes to the edge and take the pitch, right? Take it. Betting on yourself means I see opportunities in everything that arises. Betting on yourself forces you to get uncomfortable with the truth. This is due to personal responsibility, right? When we put ourselves in places where we take personal responsibility for our lives, we drop the excuses, we stop trying to reason our way, we stop playing the victim, we begin to take care of our business. There is a level of control in this space that usually scares the hell out of people because you will take personal responsibility for what is yours. This is ultimately what betting on yourself comes down to: absolute control over what you can control. I want this, therefore I'm going to do it. I feel this, therefore I'm going to address it. I'm thinking this, therefore I'm going to take responsibility for showing up to it. I don't have to be adrift. Instead, I can go all in. So often we put our safety in our thoughts. Again, we go back to that thing I said at the very beginning. What is said, what is done, what is felt isn't always the truth. When we isolate ourselves into safety, that doesn't mean that we are safe. Sometimes that becomes the harsh reality of negativity. But when we take responsibility, that thought sucks. I hate how I feel right now, and nobody's going to change it. Betting on yourself means that you get uncomfortable. You expose yourself to something new. Betting on yourself is all about personal responsibility. What belongs to me? What belongs to you? Let me tell you a quick story. I had a client a couple years ago who would talk about the way that her husband made her feel. And after a couple sessions of this victim mentality, they do this, they do that, and they just dig in, and nothing I do is good enough. I finally put my hand in a T and said, time out, time out. What are you doing in these moments? How did you respond? Her answer was, and I remember it so clearly, I did nothing. And my response is, whose responsibility is it to help you feel your way through that moment? She said his. I said wrong. You have personal responsibility in that moment. If something is hitting you over the head that you do not like, it is your responsibility to use your voice. Betting on yourself means I'm uncomfortable with the relationship with truth in the moment. My truth is I don't like this. The truth is I have a voice to bet on myself and do the thing that doesn't feel the best. The truth is I'm not going to isolate myself in the safety of what isn't working for me, but instead I'm going to bet on myself and not listen to what I know is not true. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to bet on me. When we get into those positions where it's always someone else's fault, you're not betting on you, you're betting on them to help you feel. That's a nasty way to live because no one, and I mean no one, is going to take care of your emotions and your thoughts better than you can. When you are adrift in that safety, when you are adrift in really taking personal responsibility, you are not betting on you. Let's talk about a few other ways. When you listen to what's happening within you, when you listen to your intuition, you bet on yourself. Every one of us has an inner voice. That inner voice, intuition, guidance, whatever you want to call it, is so important. And it is so necessary for you to have it because it helps you get ahead. It helps you have insight. It helps you know what's going to be worth your thought process, worth your feelings, whether or not what you are experiencing is true or not. Listen, hone into that intuition. Yes, sometimes we get it wrong when we're placing bets on ourselves, right? The failure piece to it all. But your intuition provides feedback. It tells you how you're feeling. Listen to your gut. Trust it. Listen to the signals. Strengthen it. Start talking to yourself. Because betting on yourself means that you're willing to hear and then act. This is a big piece. I want to give you an exercise now that helps you gain a little confidence. Because betting on yourself is an empowering act of believing in your potential, taking concrete steps to creating change. And it is such an amazing, essential journey in your growth, in learning about your emotions and changing your thought process and investing in yourself in increased self-confidence, opportunities, personal fulfillment, chances, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, however you want to label it. Betting on yourself changes it all. So grab a piece of paper, hit pause, record this conversation, hit the bookmark place on your app, wherever you are listening right now, because here it is. 1, I want you to clarify your vision. Understand, what are you trying to achieve right now? What do you need to bet on? Is it healing? Is it just being able to get out of bed in the morning? That's fine, right? Is it that you need to leave a relationship or strengthen one? Whatever it is that you want to achieve, clarify it. Visualize where you want to be tomorrow and in 2 years and in 5 years and in 10 years, that you can define as successful and that there is happiness within it. Clarify, because those clarifications become the guidelines that help you decide what action you're going to take. Clarity is everything because it's the first piece of the bet. It's you slamming the table down saying, I want a piece of the action. The second is build the plan. Move from planning to doing, but start with the small momentums. What do you need to do to make your vision come true? Write it out with broad thinking. I want this to occur. And then break it down into tiny steps. If your best friend came to you and said, this is what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it, what would you tell them to do? Break it down. Start with those small gains, those small momentums, and then gradually tackle the bigger things, the challenges. Take each step and align them with that broader vision down into small pieces that are going to contribute to your vision. This is betting on you, being able to give yourself a path. And then embrace the risk. Stepping out of your comfort zones sucks. I just said zones. I didn't say zone, I said zones. There's a reason why. Not everything in your life fits in one comfortable box. Where you're comfortable over here, you may not be comfortable elsewhere. You have zones in your life. You may be comfortable with your emotions and not with your thoughts. You get it? And so we take risk. We embrace it. We take calculated risk that encourages growth and learning by stepping out. This is betting on yourself. And when you fail, remember, this is an essential piece. It's okay to fail. It's okay to go above average. We develop resiliency. We develop the ability to bounce back from the setbacks and the disappointment. And we view setbacks and failure as learning opportunities and refuse to allow them to define our worth or derail our progress. We see the truth. We know that our strength helps us build for the next time, for the next thing that's coming. That's called resiliency. When we witness our strength, we're actually witnessing the evidence that we can do hard things, which allows us to place the next bet. Think about if you've ever been into a casino anywhere, or you played a game of cards or a board game, and you have a little bit of momentum happening. You have a win of some sort. You're encouraged because you have evidence that you've done it before, that you have a bigger possibility of winning. And so you double down, you bet. Think about it that way. I have evidence that allows me to double down. And then as we're betting on ourselves, we're able to stretch our goals, stretch our intentions that help us give ourselves a better sense of self. When we know we're capable of doing things, right? We have the resiliency, we have the evidence. We take another leap. We stretch. We make sure that we take our vision to the next level. If you've ever done anything, you have, right? You may start small. I want to do this thing. And then when you get there, you're like, that's really good. I love that. So I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And then we hit that goal. And then we make it just a little bit bigger. This is stretching the goal. It stretches the sense of you. You realize that your vision is manageable and that you can achieve things, which what? Builds confidence. It reinforces your beliefs and your abilities. It gives you evidence. It shows you, I can bet on myself. This isn't so scary. And then we reflect and we adjust. We review our process and our progress towards those goals, those intentions, the visions pretty regularly. I know for me, when I have something that I'm working on, I'm checking in every few days. That sounds exhausting. It sounds like extra work, but what it does is it gives me the motivation to continue to place the bet. You have to do that. It's in that check-in point too that you quickly identify what's working and what isn't. And then you adjust your plans to better face the reality that you have. When you increase the investment on yourself, you have an increased payoff. As you listen to those things, you may be motivated to take it to the next level. You may also be motivated just to simply do something small. Whatever it is, big or small, let me give you a few examples of what betting on yourself, on your life, looks like and feels like beyond the operation of it, because I'm often asked that, like, what does it look like? If I can't pinpoint exactly what I'm trying to target at this moment, what are some of these big bets? One, learning, refresh, take to the next level. Never stop learning. Take an online class, go to a conference, find a work group or a skill set group or something you want to learn. Search whatever it is and begin to learn more. Maybe you need to go back to school, finish a degree, pursue a higher one. Whatever it is, a lifetime learner is someone who is always much more likely to bet on themselves. Make a change too. Do you need to change careers? Do you need to adjust the role that you're in? Do you need to align yourself with something that's much more satisfying? You're worth that. So what do you need to do that? Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe there's an idea that you've had forever that actually sets your whole mindset and your emotional body on fire in the best way. What does that look like? What do you have to do to get there? If you embody that true spirit of betting on yourself, I bet that launch of that business, the courage that you need, whatever it may be, do it. Maybe commit to personal development. Embrace taking a self-discovery journey. Embrace healing. Do whatever you have to do to enrich your life. Embrace your creativity. Improve your mental health. If that isn't betting on you, I don't know what is. Prioritize the physical body. Stop thinking about living a healthier lifestyle and do the damn thing. Change your diet, exercise, get into mindfulness practices, yoga, meditation, whatever it is, find resiliency for the physical body. Do the same for your mental well-being. Invest in your future. What do you need to do? Is there a side hustle that you need? Financial independence gives you the freedom to align with your personal values and goals. Strengthen your emotional understanding. Take a journey through stress management, practice gratitude, cultivate a positive mindset. Learn about your emotions because that's going to give you the grace and confidence to be able to navigate life. Expand. Decide what you need. What do you need that is going to embrace and enrich your life in our 5 master areas? You may have heard me talk about those. It is emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. How can you bet on yourself in those 5 ways? What can you foster? Doing this, deciding that you are going to declare this period of time as yours, means that you are declaring that I affirm that I am worthy, that everything that comes in doesn't necessarily have to be negative, that I have the power to decide what I want, that I'm capable of growing, I'm courageous, I'm connected to my true self, I'm going to do the thing. Most importantly, I'm not going to play small. I don't need to, because this investment of myself is the best investment I can make. Bet on yourself. Not everything that comes in is true. Not everything that you are afraid of is bad. Failure is okay. Being average, okay. Being more than, okay. Whatever it is that works for you is what is best. So what is it? And where will you place your bet? Thank you so much for listening to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast. If you've enjoyed these tips and tools for bettering your life, please leave a review, as this helps us spread this message to those who need it. If you're looking for more tips and more support, please consider working with me directly. You can do so at getyourlifetogethergirl.com. Once on my website, you will also find my blog, my merch store, courses, downloads, so much for you to consume to help you get your life together. I want to thank you for being the most valuable part of this community. If you're not following me on social media, please do so at Get Your Life Together Girl. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others.